Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your Washington Commanders update, and I am your host, C Wall, checking in as I do each and every single week to have the live discussion on the Washington Commanders. You all come on in the virtual space, come on in the virtual room while we have this live discussion recapping week 9. Washington Commanders versus the New England Patriots. Before we get started and jump on in to the conversation, just a few housekeeping items as I know we have to go through. If you are joined through Facebook Live, hey everybody, how you doing? Make sure you hit that love button. Make sure you hit the like. Share this show with your Washington Commanders loving family and friends. Tag them on in so that they can be a part of the live discussion. If you are one of our YouTube subscribers, hello to you as well. Drop a fire emoji so that I know you are watching. And go ahead and drop this link as well with your Washington Commanders loving family and friends. I'm sure they would like to take part in the live discussion. This is a live Bowie television recording. Everything we say and do here just may, more than likely actually, will end up on your television screens. Verizon Channel 11 and Comcast Xfinity Channel 77 each and every single day, 1:30 to 2:30. And then on the weekends during the noon hour, you can still check out this show. And you can also check out the weekly DMV Sports Update as well. We still have the same similar format, live discussion on all of the hot topics in the DMV. Make sure you all also say hello to Mama Waller and say hello to Pops Waller as well. I see that the Commanders fans have all jumped into the conversation. I see Kim, I see Kayla, I see Cameron, I see Terrence Taylor, I see Lamar Bland. You all want to make sure you get everybody engaged because we may as well have a good time for this one. And why should we have a good time? Because it is, in fact, a Victory Monday. What do you know? What do you know, you all? It is a Victory Monday, and you all make sure you say hello to my godmom as well, my Auntie Julia Tarpley. Give her a high five and a love button and say hello to her as well. Victory Monday. But does it feel like a victory? You'll know what I mean in a minute. Because we still have to play this game. You know, we always going to play it. What's your one word? What is your one word, you all, to describe how you felt when the game was finally over? Washington Commanders defeat the New England Patriots in Foxboro. Tell me how you all feel. What was, and I see Julia here says yes was her one word. Kim says she was disgruntled. Tell us why you were disgruntled, Kim. Even Terrence said it was tight. Cameron Mingo says, woo. Lamar Bland says bittersweet. So you all keep those comments coming in so that I can acknowledge those. Mama Wallace said her one word was great. Let me tell you all, I was going back and forth on what my one word was going to be. But first things first. First one word was I was relieved. Because I'm not sure about anyone else, but I certainly panicked. I said, okay, all right. This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel, I was enjoying my time at Gillette Stadium. This is a nice, very, very nice establishment, by the way. Then things started getting a little crazy. So my first one word was relieved. And then my other one word, I went back and forth on if I was going to use this as my one word. But let me see if I can go ahead. Let's just get into what went well. Can we get into what went well? And I'm looking here let's see. I don't even know if I have it. I may not have it. My other one word was Quan Martin, because I am so glad he caught that interception in the end. Anybody else glad about it? Sound like we in church right now. Is anybody else glad about it? Because that was a close call for sure. Before we get into any critical moments, we definitely want to get into other things that we thought went well. And of course, I have to do the after game press conference. So, get some commentary going there on what you all thought about the after the game presser. Who are some of you all's favorite players of the game? I already mentioned one in Quan Martin. I'm always going to mention Terry McLaurin for the most part, except when he had those 2 drops last week. But we're going to act like we forgot about that. Not forgot. It's just we moved on. I should say that. But Terry McLaurin, definitely one of my favorites. This is a shout out to Darrell Owens Sr. You all know was right there on the Bowie TV team. The offensive line, there's a shot there. I mean, it's the offensive line. How about this offensive line? Can we talk about it? Can we be glad about that? This offensive line, let's just go ahead and say it. Can we go ahead and say it out loud? Since Nick Gates and Sadiq Charles have not been in the starting offensive line lineup, they sure have played well, haven't they? Here we go. Emmanuel Forbes. I wanted that young man to have a good day, and guess what? He did. He absolutely did. And what a way for his teammates to shout him out. Jeremy Reeves shouted him out, Benjamin St. Juste, Cam Curl, and others, just giving him all the love and all the confidence for everything that he did in the game. Was really excited, super excited for him. And you can see the smiles and everything across all of the team's faces, but especially Emmanuel Forbes in the locker room and after that game. Jahan Dotson still gets a thumbs up for me. Sometimes it's like, Jahan, you should have caught that. Then other times he catches it. I'm going to still give him one of my, you know what? You did it. Good job, good job, good job. How about Byron Pringle? Did anybody put in the chat? Let me go and look at the chat real quick. Did anybody place in the chat? I see a couple. I'm gonna try to get back. I see Jahan, Emmanuel Forbes, Sam Howell. Can anybody show Byron Pringle some love? A love button, a fire emoji for Byron Pringle, please. Please do it for Seawall. Do it for Bowie TV, y'all. Give a shout out to Coach Eric Bieniemy. Coach Eric Bieniemy called a great game. He did a great job. He definitely showed that creativity that I've been talking about, that I've been wanting to see. It seemed to happen in all different areas for the offense. We saw some blunders. We did see some blunders, right? Sam Howell's pick, the Brian Robinson fumble, but they punched it out. They forced the fumble. Brian was so hurt, but guess what? They recovered and they still ended up winning the game. And I saw many of you have already mentioned this one, and that is Sam Howell. Sam Howell, I just mentioned the bad interception there. It was enough blame to go around on that one, though. It was enough blame to go around on that one. I was so impressed. I couldn't believe it. The 24-yard run. What an effort by Sam Howell. And I had literally just said, you do a 24-yard run like that, you got to score now. I said, they down in the end zone. Somebody take a timeout. Take a timeout. Give him a minute to breathe. He just ran for a long time. And somehow they kept the plays going. They stayed in the series, and a bad mistake ended up happening. Enough blame to go around for that one. It was definitely a bad decision. Definitely should have taken a timeout. But hey, they still ended up winning miraculously, I must say, because here's some of the things that, and I see Terrence's comment about Sam Howell being the QB of the future. Lamar sharing Sam finally had 2 good back-to-back performances. Sam Howell is actually making quite the stats this season. Does anybody by chance, or do you know anyone by chance that has him on their fantasy team? Because he's quite the stat builder. He's doing really well, despite, which is crazy, right? Despite all the sacks, despite the mistakes, the bad decision making, despite the losses, Sam Howell is statistically doing very well. So hey, not that I had any doubt. That I've constantly been going back and forth with, if someone would have told me in August, if someone would have told me pre-game week 1 that the team would have the record that it has right now, that Chase Young and Montez Sweat would no longer be Commanders. One would be a Chicago Bear, one would be a San Francisco 49ers, because they were both traded at the trade deadline. I would have probably said, get out of my office. I wouldn't have believed it. I keep saying that. This is wild. And very unfortunate, by the way, that it is this way. To see the changes on defense. I want to talk about defense for a moment, because here's where I say the not so good. And that was, I still didn't see a force to be reckoned with defense. I still did not see an aggressive defense. And I joined my Fox Sports 1340 AM family for a pregame show. I was in Foxboro. They patched me in. I hopped on really quick. And I said, I want to see mistake-free football. We didn't see mistake-free football, because I said we've had enough of that. So I'm tired of seeing mistakes. So I would like to see mistake-free football one Sunday. That I feel like that would be nice. I wanted to see a dominant defense, because I felt like the Patriots offense, if you want to be dominant, this was an opportunity, absolutely an opportunity to do so. Here's where I grew concerned. I grew concerned because I saw a game that was very similar to that of the Atlanta Falcons game. And what do I say what do I mean when I say that? What I mean when I say that is, I saw from a defense side of the ball, I saw a defense that it was more about the offense and more about the quarterback not being effective, versus this defense is just scary. Like, whoever the quarterback is going to have a bad day. That wasn't the case. It reminded me of, okay, this is like when the Commanders was playing Desmond Ridder in the Atlanta Falcons, where it was more about the mistakes of the quarterback on the other side of the scrimmage line versus, wow, this defense is just great. There was some opportunities there, right? I mean, the Hunter Henry touchdown, we had just saw that play. It was the exact same play on Khalil Hudson. It was. Mac Jones just missed Hunter Henry, but then he got him in the end zone. It was the same play. The Jamin Davis pass breakup. Even in the press box, we were like, well, was it a pass breakup? Or did Mac Jones just underthrow the football, and that's just where it ended up? Surprisingly so. I even shocked myself with this one. I said, well, I think it was more of a pass breakup. I'm going to give it pass breakup versus you just underthrew him. Seeing this comment here, I agree. This from Terrence said, I agree they need to put Quan Martin in the box more, include him in more blitz packages. He's a good blitzer. Riverboat talked about that in his presser. Yeah, this was still an instance that you had to question what the defensive game plan was. Now here's the reality. The Patriots have a struggling quarterback in Mac Jones. They have a struggling wide receiver core, and we were able to see the rookie shine. And to be fair, they should in those situations. But it was still not the defensive performance that would make me say, oh, they're going a long way. If they keep playing like this, they're going a long way. So I was relieved. I think and I saw another tight. I think Lamar said bittersweet. It was a win, but when you're playing a team that is second to last in scoring points and they score 17, it's not like, oh, you held them to 17 points. It's more, from my perspective, it's more of a, it's a different perspective. It's not oh, you only held them to 17 points. For a team like that, it's like you allowed them to score 17 points. You see how that same information, that same content, that same number of 17 points can be seen two different ways. Because I've seen it being shared. Again, you only held them to 17, and here I am sitting there like they shouldn't have scored more. Didn't maybe 7 or 10. So I see this comment coming in from Kevin Williams. We should have scored like 30 on them. And that's interesting because I made a similar comment yesterday in some conversations like, man, I'm glad they won this game. But it wasn't convincing. It wasn't convincing. It was, got out of there. If you have just tuned in, you are watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the Washington Commanders Update. I am your host, Sewall. This is a live Bowie television recording. You can catch this show also on TV each and every single day. Verizon Channel 11 and Comcast Xfinity Channel 77 from 1:30 to 2:30 during the week and on the weekends during the noon hour. We're going to go to some of the after game press conferences and share a little bit of that. I want to say really quick about these calls. And you all know I have to give my disclaimer. I am typically not a blame the refs, talk about the officials. That's just not my, anyone who has been here for a while. New watchers, welcome. Hello. Welcome to the Sewall and Bowie television family. Love to see it. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much. For those who are returning and recurring, you all know that I'm not big on talking about the refs because my thought process and my philosophy is if you handle business, then you won't give the refs an opportunity to handle the rest. But I'm going to tell you something. There's some calls league-wide that it's hard to, I would never say that this is scripted, right? I would never say it is. But sometimes watching some of these games, these calls are awful. They're not good. And you just would really hope that it doesn't end up where some of these calls really alter a game. I mean, and sometimes you can say already that maybe there's some certain instances where some games they have altered games. But it's getting egregious at this point. They're taking it too far at this point. And all I'm saying is something needs to be done. I'm not sure what that can be. I know I've discussed about, can you find refs? Can you start like documenting which referee groups are making these egregious mistakes so that you're like, maybe it's not strikes. I'm not sure, but it needs to be documented. It needs to be kept because at this point you can't speak negatively about the officials. You can't say anything, but something's got to be done because that roughing the passer penalty on KJ Henry, that was bad. That was bad. One of the worst I've seen ever. I mean, and we're sitting in the press box with Patriots media, and they were like, "Yeah, now that was bad. That's pretty bad. Yeah, it is." All right, you all. So let's take a swap. Let's see, and let's watch a bit of Ron Rivera's presser from after the game. Just a snippet.
About that. What are your thoughts after getting that one done?
Well, it was a hard fought game. It really was. I mean, it went back and forth. We had opportunities. We missed some opportunities. One thing we got to take better care of the football. Defensively, we can't give up an explosive like we did. But for the most part, I thought the guys came out, competed, played hard, did good things, did things that they're capable of, and show what we can do.
You've talked a lot in recent weeks about Sam's promise and what that can mean for this organization. How did he add to that?
Well, with the exception of the interception in the first half, I thought he played the type of game that we believe he is capable of. He made some really good decisions, some smart things. I mean, there are some things that he's going to want to have back once he gets a chance to look at the tape and we get a chance to really evaluate it. But, again, we got to make sure that we put those guys in position to have the success that, we can have. And again, we're still, growing and developing with the guy, but he did a great job for us and, led us to the victory.
On two interceptions, his and then the one at the end. What did you see on each of those?
With his, he tried to force it. I mean, that play calls for it's a quick read. He tries to extend a little too much, and then he saw Jahan coming late. And at that point, just throw it into the end zone. I mean, throw it just completely out of the end zone. And that was disappointing. He knows better, and he was really disappointed himself at halftime, but he got over it quickly and came out and, regrouped and played well in the second half and did the things that, like I said, we believe he can.
And the last interception, Quan.
Oh, it was really nice play defensively. Again, he's lurking there. He's a guy that's in position that if something does get tipped, that hopefully he can come up with it, and he did.
I know it seems like I asked you this every week. What did they say to you about KJ's roughing pass?
They thought it was full body weight, again we.
Listen, what you gonna say? How can you say anything? It's nothing you can say, and that's when it comes to bad calls like that. If you follow me on my page, I was like, listen, if I'm Ron Rivera, I'm getting the fine. I'm just going to get the fine. Just take it out my paycheck because I'm coming in hot. I'm coming in hot. It doesn't matter whether we won or lost. But Ron Rivera is a very nice man, a very kind-hearted person. So he's not going to do that. Now, I'm not saying that you have to not be kind-hearted in order to do that. It's just, hey, something's got to give. Something's truly got to give with these bad calls. And if you go take the L, just go ahead and take it. That's how I feel about it. Now, let's go ahead and jump into a snippet of Sam Howell's presser and drop in the chat what you think about what he's saying here.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought I did some good things and made some good plays. Just got to find a way to play better at certain times. And obviously the interception was a big play for us, a chance for us to really get the momentum going into halftime. And that's probably one of the worst plays I've ever made in my football career. So definitely just got to not do that in that situation. But yeah, I thought I did some good plays. A lot of guys stepped up and made some big plays down the field. The O-line did a good job all day long. We ran the ball well. We protected well. They brought some blitzes, some cover zeros, and we got through some checks and managed that pretty well. So I thought, as a whole, we did a lot of really good things. We just got to find a way to finish better. And when we have a chance in the fourth quarter to win the game, we got to take advantage of that and not put our defense in so many opportunities. We gave the ball back to them probably 3 times. And our defense came up with a stop every single time. And so just credit to them, and it was just a great team win.
So for you, after doing this, how much are you thinking about the really good throws you had versus that one interception?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm I hate that play happened, but it's just I'm not going to let that happen again, and I think my teammates know that, and I told them that. So I'm just going to try to continue to build on the good things that we did.
Since Nicky kept bringing it up, what did happen on the interception?
Dang, John. I tried to talk about it early, so y'all will just stop at. But it was just obviously in a situation like that, you got to try to throw the ball away, and I was on the perimeter, and it was a rollout pass, and then kind of a guy triggered and tried to come hit me late, and so I was just trying to find an incompletion, and I just didn't get the ball out of bounds.
What about the pass to Jahan, and just walk us through that one and just how that one came through?
Yeah, it was they were trying to bring cover zero, and for most of the game, our cover zero stuff was getting through some quick screens and stuff like that. So I knew we'd have an opportunity versus cover zero to get into max protection and take a shot down the field. And Jahan did a good job beating this guy. We know it's going to be one-on-one. There's in cover zero. There's nobody behind him. So I just tried to throw it out there and let him go get it. He did.
How much the last couple of games do you feel like you're getting in sync with the protection, and how does that help you when you're in the pocket and you're getting overall?
Yeah, I think we're doing a really good job, and I think that O-line unit is really starting to come together. They put together 2 really good games, and we just got to continue to grow. And they're doing a good job. Tyler coming in is doing a really good job, and he's doing a good job with making the right calls and me and him being on the same page. And then those guys are fighting, and that's all we can ask for them is, continue to fight. And as we continue to grow as an offense, their job will get easier. As we run the ball better, as we continue to get the ball out fast and stuff like that. As I continue to grow and develop, it'll only help them. But we're doing some good things, and we just got to try to continue and build on it and let it translate to more points.
So Sam said a lot of things, and I'm seeing the comments come through. I see the comment about the team being off until Wednesday, and I was even shocked by that. I was like, oh, wow. I'm just going to assume that last week was a lot. That was stressful. It's a lot going on. I was shocked that they would be off 2 days in preparation for the Seattle Seahawks, who took a beating from the Baltimore Ravens. So who knows what type of time they're going to be on next week and what they're going to be looking to do. But the offensive line in the unit has to see a defensive tackle that they saw just a few weeks ago in Leonard Williams, who is now with the Seattle Seahawks. And this offensive line has done a lot better. I said that at the top of the conversation. We showed a picture of them and said, hey, offensive line hasn't been an issue. Not these last 2 weeks. So if we want to talk progress in ways when you see progress and what happens, we of course wish Sadiq Charles well. We want him to get better in healthy recovery, but there was absolutely a change at center. It was a change. It was a lineup change for certain. Nick Gates out, Tyler Larson in, and instantly you're seeing the difference. And sometimes a change overall, when something needs to be changed, it sends a message to your whole line. It sends a message to your whole unit of at least there's progress needing to be made. And people are saying, hey, this the coach said, hey, the tape done lie, the film done lie. We got to make a change. Something's got to happen. And we know that Tyler Larson has come back from an injury as well. So the timing has been there for sure. I want to go back to them being off for 2 days. Again, head coach's decision. Do what you got to do. Be my guest. I'm still not convinced about the defense. Just a lot that we wanted to see in the defense. Still haven't seen it yet. It's still a little quiet from a defensive line perspective. We talked about this at the top of the show. It's still, where's the pressure? Where's the everything, right? I was calling, going back to the pregame with my family with Fox Sports 1340 a.m. I'm like, okay, I expect to hear Casey Toohill a bit more today. If there's an opportunity to continue to hear Jonathan Allen's name, continue to hear Daron Payne's name, this is the game to do that. That didn't happen. You definitely heard Jamin Davis a time or two. That's good. We already know about Emmanuel Forbes and Quan Martin, but I don't want this game to give a false sense of reality. That's just where I'm at with it, because I'm still seeing too much of the same type of play that the team in some units in some areas and what they do even when they lose. You were just playing a team that wasn't very good offensively. So, yes, team win. Like to see the response to adversity. I want to go back to Brian Robinson Jr. for a moment. I don't think anyone was more disappointed than him about that fumble, because that's just something that he doesn't do. But if you go back and you watch the film, if you watch the TV version, you see the way he was carrying it, came right in and punched it out. And what was interesting, did you all notice when he got back in the game, he was back to covering it like how B-Rob typically does, and that is with both arms and hands covering the football. So I think that hurt. That hurt. The bad interception in the end zone hurt as well. But the team recovered and they won. Let me be clear. They won and they needed to win. They needed to win. We can't get the game back against the Chicago Bears. We can't get the games back against the Philadelphia Eagles. Can't get that game back against the Giants. I'm sure everybody wants those games back, but guess what? They're not coming back. All they can do is effectively plan and be ready for the opponent that's ahead of them. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, with the Seattle Seahawks, and when we come together again on Thursday for the DMV Sports Update to talk all the things, we'll talk a bit more about the Seahawks and what we've seen so far this season from them. But again, the Seahawks took a mean L to the Baltimore Ravens up at M&T up the road in M&T Bank Stadium. So who knows? Who knows what type of time the Seahawks are going to be on? It will be interesting to see, because these are still winnable games. And I'm going to say something that I said I shared at the beginning of the pregame, which was yesterday, and it was, I feel as though we've seen enough of football with mistakes. It would be nice to see mistake-free football, and I know it's hard. Things happen, but if ever we could get, I'm going to continue to say this, you are going to continue to, if ever we could get the second half of the Denver Broncos game, the second half of that Denver Broncos game for a whole game, now would be the time to start to do that. Now would be the time. The NFC is still quite wide open. Now the AFC is doing some different things over in the AFC, but the NFC is still quite open. Statistically, numbers wise, if we're just being honest, looking purely at the win-loss columns, there's still a chance. I'm not trying to gas anybody to say, yeah, they're about to make a run for it. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying, though, is if you're just purely looking at the wins, losses, you're looking at the NFC, there's still opportunities. Absolutely opportunities. So I think that needs to be said, because I'm going to be critical, but I'm always going to be objective, even in my criticism. So you never know what may happen. Still got chances. You still got to see the Giants again in the division. You still have to see the Cowboys twice. And I see that we have a believer in the chat. We have a believer in the chat. Give David a high five, right? So who knows what can happen? I think that all of it is key. It's not, you know, it's crunch time. It's go time. It's let's have at it. You know, let's continue to build. Let's go. You've had half a season now to correct the mistakes. You've had a half a season now to see what you're working with. And I want to go back to this point that I've been making for all the season now. We're seeing so much of what has happened across the league with these injuries, and many prayers out to all injured players and wanting them to have speedy recoveries. But the Commanders, not so far. We hope that this isn't the case and this doesn't happen, but so far they haven't experienced a vast number of injuries. So sometimes in the end, it's about the team that has the healthiest team. Who's still standing? Who has the most players not on IR? And you've learned from your mistakes. Not only have you learned from your mistakes, you've learned from your mistakes, and you actually made changes at the trade deadline that says, I'm planning for next year. So at this point, everybody should be on high alert just simply because of that, right? That they're on the planning for next year. So they got to be making the clutch plays. They have to be the ones that's executing. You've had half a season to drop passes and to throw interceptions, and you've had half of a season to miss tackles and miss opportunities to intercept the football. Don't do that anymore. Just roll with it. Go out and get them. Go ahead and get to the football. Get that pressure up. Get the pressure. Be aggressive in your stance and know that you still have an opportunity to make a run. You absolutely do. Absolutely, you still have a chance. So, with that being said, you all, we're gonna leave on a positive note that statistically the numbers that still have a chance. Everybody say it with me. Love button, fire emoji, drop it in the chat. They still have a chance. A chance. So we shall see what happens the rest of the season. You all, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you all so very much. This is from the Couch series, your Washington Commanders update. I am your host, Seawall. This is a live Bowie television recording, and I am always so honored to come after a game and talk to you all about all of the Washington Commanders recaps. On Thursday, we're doing a live DMV Sports update at 7:30, same place. So jump right on in. Full disclosure. You all know I go to all the games. I travel to all the games, go to press about, doing my work thing. But this week was actually the week that I had planned not to go. So I will not be in Seattle unless something changes with my schedule by the end of the week. But right now, I will not be in person in Seattle, but I will still be all in the know. I'll be at practice and I will be locked in to all of the happenings happening there on the West Coast in real time. So we'll be doing this all over again next week, and I'll be back in the building when they face the New York Giants at FedEx Field. So you all, thank you so much, and I'll be talking to you guys again soon.